Hello and welcome to We Will Manage, the podcast exploring the weird and wonderful world of work. We are two young professionals figuring out our careers one conversation at a time. Today, we're talking about switching off from work mode.
So, stick around to understand the importance of a hug, what my best skill is, and how to set up your routine for mental recovery.
You got your cute little teapot.
I'm celebrating that I'm on my holidays for 4 days.
Good.
Also,
So you're just going for the weekend to
yeah,
Spain.
I actually have a meeting. I have a meeting on Monday in Valencia. So I'm flying from Malaga to Valencia Monday morning. So I was like, I had to fly to Valencia Monday morning. So I was like, I'll just take Thursday, Friday off, fly to Malaga, and then fly from Malaga on Monday.
Nice.
Very exciting. Also, Adrian just seems it could be that he just got a job for at least a month.
What? Why? How? What is it? What?
He now has kind of people scattered about the place that know he's looking for a job. So there's lots of these
Scouting
recruiting agencies that know that he's available, blah, blah, blah. And it just so happens that this one that sent him a message is actually a friend of a friend. So it's a friend of his parents or his brother or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so he sent him a message saying, hey, does this interest you? Does this position interest you? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm an expert in that. Take me. And so he just called him. So he was showing me the message. And I said, just send him it. Because he was like, what should I say? Should I ask him for more details? I was like, just tell him, here's my number, call me. And so that's what he did. And he called him. So he was on the phone like 10 minutes ago. And yeah, he was like, send me your CV. And because he knows the people, he's just like, you can start next week.
Oh, that would be amazing.
It'd be amazing. I think it's just like a 1 month project
Thing,
or
but
2 months maybe. Hey,
yeah, no,
that's 2 months of work.
totally. And who knows what it could lead to, so.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting. It's in
Good.
Lyon in France. So he'll have to spend some time with his brother, but that's fine. It's not too far. It's like the closest French big city.
Okay, cool. Nice.
So that's all of my updates.
I feel like I've...
How's your super speedy Wi-Fi?
Well, I don't know how speedy it is.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. So I don't know. They were doing stuff to it yesterday, but I don't know. It's faster than it was, but it's still not fiber optic level, which it should be. So I don't know if they're just not finished doing something, if they've got to come and install something. I don't really know. So today's going to be a good test to see exactly. I uploaded the episode, whatever episode it was, that was about 50 minutes to YouTube. And instead of it saying like an hour or something to upload, it said 20 minutes, which is better, but I still feel like it should be quicker if it was fiber optics.
I have absolutely no idea, but I'm going to say,
Well, anyway, so we'll see. But yes, what I was saying before is that I feel like I felt your holiday energy because I decided to wear a hoodie today, which I don't think I've ever done on the podcast. So yeah.
Let me put a hoodie on. We should have a pajama day.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we should do a pajama day episode.
Next, we will manage Mondays. We will manage pajama day.
Yes.
Sleepover. Anyway, shall we jump in?
Let's jump in.
So, today's episode, I'm not sure what it's going to be called. If you're listening, you already know. But the working title for us to talk about it is How to Switch Your Brain Off, which, I was really excited to do. I feel like it's something that we all struggle with, especially when you do have your own business. But yeah, I feel like it's something that everybody kind of talks about and it's something that is very present. So yeah, I was excited to look into it, and then doing the research, I'm really excited now because there's actual like stuff. So I'm like, there's actual facts, there's actual stats, there's biological things.
Honestly, doing the research for these episodes, I've learned so much.
So much.
And especially this season where we're going into kind of mental health kind of things, it's like therapy.
Totally. And it's the thing is,
you're feeling totally validated.
Yeah. And it's things that I feel like it's concepts and words that get thrown about a lot in day-to-day conversation, but to actually look into it and look into like the reason why and side effects and all these things. I just find it so interesting. So to start us off, I thought I would share some stats to prove why this is a valid thing to talk about. So
give me the numbers.
34% of people continue to work after official work hours, which is a lot of people. This is basically when you're officially finished. It's not taken from people who run their own business. It's a stat taken from people who work. Employees. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. So yeah, after hours, even if it is like they'll do their emails from home or whatever, you know, it doesn't have to be maybe staying in the office. It just means that after they're supposedly finished working, they're still going. And 35% of people report difficulty disconnecting from work even during vacation or leave. Again, quite a big
Doesn't surprise me.
Doesn't surprise me.
Also,
at
I think, like, at my company, so for example, when I was leaving today, because I'm off for 2 days, like a long weekend, I said to everybody, call me if you need me, but preferably don't.
Yeah, but if you can avoid it, avoid it.
Yeah. And I try really hard to not contact my colleagues when they're on holiday. And I mean, I imagine that this stat doesn't necessarily apply to your being contacted after hours, but I feel like in general, companies don't respect time off anyway.
No.
Imagine when you're not like on holiday.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've talked about this at some point before, as I mentioned it, but isn't there that law in France of the right to rest or something like that? And there's like an actual thing that after 5 p.m. they can't get, like they're not allowed to work, and then on weekends.
France is a wonderful place to be an employee.
I think
you've got all the rights. All of the rights.
I already knew about it. I don't know why, but I think they also mentioned it on Emily in Paris. I don't know if you've seen that. Have you watched Emily in Paris?
I haven't. I think I started it when I was in France.
You need to watch Emily in Paris. It's so good. It's so good.
It didn't get me.
Really?
Do I need to give it a chance?
You need to give it a chance.
We're getting stuck. We're good.
Did I cut out?
You're back now.
Well, yeah, you need to give it a chance.
Okay. Maybe I'll download it. No, I can't download it. My Netflix isn't working. Anyway, I'll figure it out. I'll watch it.
Yeah. Anyway, so when I started first looking into how to switch your brain off and like, you know, all these kind of things online, because I was like, I don't want this episode to be what you and me think is a good way to disconnect from work and to switch your brain off, you know, because I wanted it to be a bit more than that. I wanted it to be have a bit more substance, and then we can get into specifics of how to afterwards. But I very quickly came across the term psychological detachment. So this is the official word for switching your brain off. So psychological detachment is the central experience of recovery from work-related stress that allows individuals to reduce burnout symptoms.
Wow, that's very specific.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what we're talking about today. So maybe it should be called the episode Psychological Detachment. Has literally got a name. And the reason to do it, like it says, mainly is to avoid burnout. So yeah, it's somewhere else it had. So that was the definition, I think, from the Oxford Dictionary. But in an article, they said that it's the ability to mentally switch off from work during non-work time by not doing work-related tasks and not thinking about work, which is what a lot of people do.
I honestly think I'm an expert at this.
Well, I was just going to ask your experience with psychological detachment. What's your experience with it?
It's interesting because I feel like I can get stressed about work, but so out of hours, I can worry about work or feel anxious about work, but it's not because I'm thinking about work. It's not because I'm thinking, oh, I have this thing on my to-do list, or sometimes it's about a meeting or something. Every now and then when you have a big thing coming up, obviously you can get worried about it. But I don't continue thinking about the things that I'm having to resolve in my work day. I don't continue thinking about that later when I finish work or on the weekends. I'm pretty good at just telling my brain, nope, not now. This is your own time. You're not allowed to think about that. And I think I've always been pretty good at that. Even during my studies, I was very focused on when I leave the library, I don't think about that anymore, you know?
Compartmentalizing.
So you can definitely, yeah. And like what I was saying in an episode we recorded a couple of weeks ago, where I'm able to, if I'm on my way to the office, in fact, I do it quite often, I'll start going through my to-do list before getting to the office. And I'm like, no, not yet. It's not 8 a.m. This is your own time. Think about your own stuff. And I am able to just not think about it. So I do think I do have the mental capacity to not think about it. But then I don't know if my body and feelings follow through, because I can. And I mean, the episode that we're bringing out next week is going to be a lot more about kind of not necessarily thinking about work, but anticipating and feeling anxious about work, which I don't think is the same thing, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll see next week. Out of curiosity, do you ever struggle to sleep because you're like thinking, whether it be about work or not, but like, are you able to like switch your brain off in that situation as well?
Yeah.
Interesting.
In general, mostly.
Yeah. Interesting. Because, that's something I think what you are able to do is realize that you are, in fact, in control of your brain and not the other way around, which is what a lot of people don't even like kind of think about, I guess. And that's where it kind of, people don't realize they can say to their brain, just stop. Let's not do that right now. So interesting that you are good at it and always have been, which is because I think it is something that I think most people probably need to learn. I think it's quite a normal thing to, when you're in that moment in time, for whatever reason, something is important to you, so it's worrying you and stressing you out, for it to be a focus and to like disconnect from that. It's not easy.
I think I'm very good at telling my conscious brain, don't think about that right now. And it's not like it's not that I'm very good at avoiding, like I'm not somebody to avoid a feeling or avoid something, because I know that there are people that are very good at doing that. Whereas they don't, because the thought is uncomfortable, they'll not think about it and just, and push it out of their mind. So it's not like I necessarily do that. In fact, when there's an issue or something, I'm more likely to think about it. But I am pretty good at like walking out the office and saying, okay, that issue I've had in the office, deal with that tomorrow. Don't think about that consciously. But then I think my subconscious is a different story, because I can get quite anxious about things without realizing that it's because of that.
Yeah, interesting. So many things. Anyway, I'm gonna keep going. So, why are we talking about psychological detachment? Why is it something that we're talking about as if it's a negative thing? And why are we going to discuss today of ways to switch off your brain? And it's basically comes down to, because it is something that's directly related to your well-being. We'll get into a little bit exactly why afterwards, but basically here this article said detachment is it allows psychophysiological stress systems activated during work to downregulate and recover. Basically, it's the whole thing that we've heard 1,000 times of the whole stress generates all the hormones and things, not hormones, sorry. What's the word I'm looking for? What's cortisol?
It is hormones.
Is it a hormone? Well, yeah.
Stress
releases all these kind of things in your body to, help you fight or flight in adrenaline-filled situations. Stress was never meant to be something that we would experience for long periods of time. So when we do, and we don't have a break from it, it leads to things that aren't very good for us. Before we get there, I'm just going to hit on the last thing of psychological detachment, which is there was a study done with 2,520 Japanese employees that found that social support outside of work helps people to shift focus away from work, while compulsive work habits hinder mental switching off from job concerns. So having something social to go to afterwards is, in this case, is one of the things that when they tested of various different things with these employees, it was the strongest one that they saw helped people kind of, get out of being stuck in work mode, basically.
For sure. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even if you go and do sport or like an activity or something like that, like you can always still you can still be thinking about work. Whereas when you socialize, I feel like it puts things into a bit of perspective when you're with other people in a way. Like, that they aren't thinking about what you're thinking about, and your work to them means nothing. So,
and even if you do talk about work, and even if you do talk about work, like you'll never guess what happened to me today. It's still getting you out of being in your head about it.
Yeah.
You get it out, you talk about it, and you can move on, you know, because I think that it's obviously very normal to have a rundown of the dramas that happen at work in the workplace. But it's not the same as you sitting and going over it by yourself in your own head.
Or trying to figure out what you should have done better or what you should do tomorrow. Or
Exactly. So one word that kept coming up again and again when I was doing all the research is workaholism or workaholics. As these are people who fall in the category of not being able to switch off. Obviously, they're not the only people. Just because you can't switch off when work doesn't mean that you're a workaholic, but it is a big percentage of people. And I was really surprised to see that workaholism affects between 27 and 30% of the general population today. I thought that was quite a high number.
For sure.
So we've got the definition. A workaholic is someone who works compulsively or is addicted to work. A workaholic can't detach from their job. So it's basically what we're talking about in today's episode, but to an extreme. And yeah, I just thought it was interesting to touch on. We're not going to really stop here for a long time just because it's probably a whole separate subject. And I feel like neither of us probably have enough experience to really talk about it too much. But
I think what's interesting
go for it.
with kind of what I've heard up until now of this particular episode, something that had never occurred to me is that you can be a workaholic without actually liking your job. You know what I mean? Like you can still take that home.
Yeah.
Even if it isn't something that you're passionate about, just because you think, okay, this is my responsibility and I have to fix this and tomorrow's too late and I need to get more done today. Like I've always thought of workaholic people as just people that love their job so much that they can't stop. But I guess not at all, you know?
No. And I mean,
like it could be, but
it's a good name for it because it is an addiction. People are addicted to work.
Yeah.
Maybe what you're addicted to, like you say, isn't the passion you feel for your job because maybe you don't like your job. Maybe it's the success. Maybe it's the money. Maybe it's the, you know, whatever. Something that's people who are addicted. And I saw that a big reason why it might be that workaholism is actually worse now than it has been in quite a long time is because of digitalness, being online, which makes it even more hard to blur that boundary, it makes it even easier to blur the boundary between work and personal life.
For sure.
And it's, I mean, when you think of a workaholic person, you think of them always on their phone and phoning and texting and emailing and stuff from their phone. So yeah, it just, like I say, I didn't want to talk about it too much because I don't feel like we probably have enough experience to talk about this, but it just kept coming up because they are such a big big percentage of what we did say before. 35% of people who report difficulty disconnecting from work. Well, workaholics are a big part of that 35%.
What's your take on this? I mean, are you going to, maybe you'll talk about it later, but I'm curious now. How are you able to kind of switch off after working hours? Because I feel like it would be so much more difficult for you.
For a long time, I wasn't. And the thing is that I didn't mind that I wasn't. So I wasn't trying to. Does that make sense? You know,
Yeah, of course.
I didn't mind that I was constantly thinking about stuff and I didn't find it tiring. Then I don't really know why exactly. I think it just got to the point where I realized that it was making me stressed. It didn't feel fun anymore. It didn't feel fun and exciting. It felt like it was like an extra, stress, and that I would be very disengaged from what I was doing because I was like in my head thinking about work all the time. So now I make a real
I guess
point
for
of
you,
it.
it kind of, there can be two sides because I'm talking for you, obviously, this might not be right. But when you started work, it really did come from a place of passion. And it's the thing that you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
So making that into a business is very exciting. And it's a lot about, it's kind of what you want to be thinking about anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas once the company's up and running and you have difficult clients and you have a team and you have people to pay and then thinking about work after work is not just about the fun part anymore. It can be more about the stressful things, which I think are the ones that are more likely to stick in our heads.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think this is going to happen a lot in this season, but it's going back to the two things we already have talked about, work-life balance and the hustler. God, word totally went out my head. And that hustler mindset because both those things played a role in me not being able to switch off, you know, and then realizing that I needed to. Now I think I am pretty good at it. I will just put my phone on do not disturb and I'll be like, no, I'm not working.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm pretty good at not worrying about it. Where I still get caught up in it, it's when it's a project that for whatever reason I'm very excited about. And then I will find myself thinking about it after hours. But normally I'm quite good. Well, like you were saying before, I'm quite good at not thinking about it, especially when it's stressy things and stressful clients and projects and all that. But I will still have that feeling in my body.
It as not good for me.
Yeah, but I'll still feel it in my body. Like I'll be out for a walk and I'm like, I'm not going to think about it anymore, but I still feel that knot in my stomach, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm still like,
I do.
It's still icky in my body, but I'm not, even if I'm not thinking about it, like you said before, like the physical reactions of it still feel like they're lingering. So anyway, now we're going to head into why we need to learn to switch off. Why we need to learn to have psychological detachment. So it all comes down to because when we're under chronic work stress, the body produces excess cortisol, which keeps the brain in a constant state of survival mode. And what does this mean? We have a whole list of things that this means, which I just love. So this is, I've titled this part, the biological role.
Nice.
And yeah, it's basically the things that your body does to be like, help, I'm not okay, you need to sort yourself out. So prolonged activation has all these effects. So first of all, cortisol, we're going to get into some real biology here and words that I can't really pronounce. It's released by the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal, or for short, HPA, which, yep. So the HPA axis, and it follows a circadian rhythm, which is typically high in the morning, and then it kind of goes getting less and less during the day. Work, stress, triggers additional cortisol production beyond this natural cycle. So it peaks in the morning. So it's when that's why most people say that they're most like on and able to like be just on the ball at work in the morning. And then as the day goes on, they get more tired and stuff. Cortisol plays a big part of that. But yeah, when you have extra stresses, well, then you get additional cortisol production beyond the natural cycle. And it then, as it's out of its natural cycle, it's harder for it to come back down again unless you actively do something. So that's a little explanation. Now we're going to go into the effects. So what does it do? Chronically high cortisol. So I don't know at what point it becomes chronic, how long you have to be kind of stuck in it for it to be chronic for it to be chronically high. But when you are at this point, it impairs immune function, digestion, and other biological processes not considered essential during stress, effectively keeping the body on alert, which limits relaxation. So basically anything that your body will do when it is calm, because basically
panic mode.
Yeah, exactly. If you're in panic mode, things like digestion obviously aren't priority. So that's why it affects things like that. High evening cortisol, because this isn't in the normal rhythm of it, can correlate with impaired sleep quality, which then will increase restlessness, limiting recovery from the day's stress. So again, when you're sleeping, that is when your body, your brain, all of it can do what it has to do to put the memories in the right place and do all the things so that you can de-stress and start the next day well. But if you've got high cortisol in the evenings and this doesn't really happen, so you're just kind of stuck in that cycle. Excess cortisol also impacts mental well-being by contributing to anxiety, depression, cognitive decline, and burnout symptoms. Lastly,
no surprise there.
Yep, no surprise there. And lastly, cortisol overload affects brain regions critical for emotional regulation and memory, like the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex, which handles decision-making and impulse control, explaining difficulty relaxing and bonding personally after work and shouting at your kids and all sorts.
Was that in the study?
Yeah. So like it's all things that make sense. Like when you're stressed, you do feel more on edge. You feel like you do get stomach aches. You don't even feel hungry. Like you can't sleep because it's all things that feel like they make sense. And it's just ways that your body is going, I'm not okay.
Yeah, give me a break.
Yeah. Yes. We've got...
You just get worse at everything. You're worse at digesting. You're worse at sleeping. You're worse at working because you can't take decisions, and your family suffers and everybody suffers.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
How do we fix this?
How do we fix this? Well, there's 3 really easy ways to fix it, which I thought was hilarious. The first one is a hug. Literally
Does a hug bring down your cortisol?
Hugs, yes. It has to be quite a long hug. I think they all said that it had to be like at least 20 seconds. And I think it is just that like human to human contact. It does a lot of stuff, actually, a hug. But one of the things it does do is lower your cortisol. Which I was like, another one is
we should take a break to go and give everybody a hug.
Yeah, exactly. If you feel someone's getting too stressed, just go and hug them.
Everybody pause the podcast here and go and give a loved one a hug. Or like a stranger in the street. Whatever is at your reach.
Yeah. Then we have physical activity, and they were saying things of like, because other hormones are released, and then that cortisol goes down and dopamine goes up and all sorts. So yeah, physical activity is also one. You can literally run the stress out of yourself. And then one that hasn't got as much like scientific, I guess, like these 2, they can like test what happens when you hug and when you do physical activity. This is more kind of through testing and experiments and all such things. A positive and supportive work environment. So they've just tested that in those kind of situations, people, their cortisol levels just are lower than in places where they're not. So not much you can do there.
I can
but
definitely
it's just,
attest to that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all of this to say that leaving work isn't enough, basically. Your body's stress systems, they need to be actively brought down for actual switching offness to happen. And it's not easy, I guess it all comes down to how we live today isn't really how humans were initially supposed to live. So we do just have higher stress levels, and that's just a fact. So we have brought to you some practical tips to disconnect and to be present.
Join Alba and Saoirse on We Will Manage podcast.
Love the jingle. Right, so the first one is to adopt clear routines to signal transition between work and personal time. This sounds so silly, but we are very, very, very routine creatures. And the more we're in routine, the happier our body is, and the more like non-verbal signals we can give ourselves, then the better. So some examples of this could be tidying up your desk, turning off work devices. For me, that is so, when I turn off my computer, it's like really like there's no going back, which is stupid because you just turn it back on again. But it really feels like it signifies the end, because it's not as easy as just quickly opening it up again, So yeah, turning off work devices, changing your clothes into something if you have a work outfit, and then going for a walk, anything like that as soon as you finish, you do, so that your body's like, okay, we're going to now start unwinding.
I guess that's what makes it so much easier when you do have an office job, is that your signal to your brain that you're not going to work anymore is that you leave the office.
Is that you're not
But I
in
guess
the
that's
building.
not enough for lots of people anyway.
Yeah, well, exactly. So yeah, if you do have a commute, then maybe doing something on that commute, like listening to a specific playlist or a specific podcast.
Or a podcast.
Or doing something, and then when you get home, then again doing whatever, or on the commute, putting on the do not disturb or whatever. So yeah, getting really clear routines, I think, is the key word. Clear routine that is really telling your body, okay, we're done with work for the day. Second, which I feel like we've talked about so many times already, but it's here, so I'm gonna read it. Set and communicate boundaries with with colleagues and yourself. So yeah, just be really clear. Like Saoirse is really clear. After 5, do not contact me. You're also telling yourself, after 5, I will not listen.
Yeah. I mean, it is just as much of a message to yourself as it is to your colleagues. Like, one, you could also just not reply after 5 p.m. But I feel like when you take that step to say, or just like, show it in another way. It's not like I've told my colleagues, don't call me after 5, but showing that that's the case.
Yeah.
By not picking up.
Well, that's me done.
Sending a message. Yeah. Or sending a message like, can't pick up right now. Is everything okay? We'll speak tomorrow or whatever, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I feel like it is just as much as a message to yourself as it is to your colleagues.
Yeah, definitely. Then we've got use technology aids such as do not disturb modes to reduce work notifications during personal time. So whatever you can do. One thing that Apple have, there you go. Saoirse's got her do not disturb on. I actually put airplane mode on while we're recording just to help the Wi-Fi in any way I can. But yeah, when airplane mode comes off, do not disturb will come on. But yeah, you can actually now, there's like a mode called like personal mode or something that can automatically come on when you're at a location that you set it to come on at. I think it works like that. Like it keeps asking me if I want to do it. And I'm like, no, because I work from home. So I can't have personal mode. But I think it's really useful for people who work in office.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I'm surprised you haven't got the notifications.
For those that haven't, I might have just ignored them. For those that are watching us on YouTube, I'm showing the screen. So you can see that I currently have do not disturb on. And under that, you have personal mode. And it says for 1 hour until tomorrow morning. And until I leave, I shouldn't have shown that. That's my address. Anyway.
Could you see it? I didn't realize you could see it. Yeah. I just read until I leave this location.
Oh, it's okay. It's just the street.
Right, yeah.
So until I leave this location, nearby name of my street.
Yeah.
So if you want to know where I live so you can stalk me, you'll have to watch us on YouTube.
And so technology can be really easy way to stay connected to work, but there are also aids that can help us disconnect from it. So yeah, I would definitely recommend. I know like sleep mode, you can have it be activated by time. I don't know if you can do that with do not disturb, but you can do it with the personal thing. You can do it with location. So I don't even know if you can do it like with various locations, like if you have like your gym and your house or something. But yeah, use technology as much as possible to try and reduce work notifications so that you're not receiving all that and feeling tempted. Because if I receive an email, I find it so hard to not look at it. Even if I'm like, I'm not going to answer now because it's 10 o'clock at night and it's not professional to answer at 10 o'clock at night. So I know I'm not going to answer, but I've seen it and now I need to know what they've said, you know? And it's so bad.
I'm just going to prepare the draft and then I'll send it tomorrow.
Exactly. It's like when you're waiting for the feedback and you're like, oh, I wonder what they thought. And then if they're like, didn't like it, then I'm like, that's my evening ruined.
Yeah. Do you know what? Yeah. I've gotten so much worse at that. I've gotten so much worse.
Yeah. That's right, I think.
Got so much worse at that since I am a founder, which honestly, it doesn't change my day to day that much. Mm-hmm. If I see a notification, because I am on my work computer because I use work and personal. Mm-hmm. So I can see if I have a notification in my company, so where I'm an employee email, and right next to it is the app with the company that I founded email box. If I see a notification on my the one I've co-founded, I find it so much harder to not open it because I'm like, oh, I wonder what that'll be, you know?
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
Yeah. It's like, what does it matter? As in, what are you going to do about it now? Nothing. You're not going to do anything about it now. So why are you looking? Why are you? Yeah. So yeah. Then we've got spend quality time in activities fully unrelated to work, such as hobbies, socializing, or physical exercise to shift focus. So we're going to be diving into an episode all about this in the future, which we've already said we were going to do that in a previous episode. But yeah, to feel like you're doing nothing in quotation.
Our English is subpar today.
Yeah, what's happening? Anyway, yeah, being unproductive, but you're not actually being unproductive. It's just not work productive. Practice mindfulness, meditation, or journaling to offload work thoughts and regulate emotions. So we went into this a little bit in our The Power of the Mind episode, which I feel like it was episode 14. I think I was in YouTube earlier in our YouTube channel, and I think episode 14 was that one. But anyway, yes, Power of the Mind. We are big advocates for this. We can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, I was going to go into that, and then I thought, no, don't be annoying, because when you're annoying, people start listening to you. But I'm going to do it anyway, because you said that now. God, it makes such a difference. Guys, just try it once, okay?
Yeah. Yeah. It makes such a big difference. And I think something that for me helps is that there's different ways to do this. Like you don't have to, people think the meditation is sitting with your eyes closed and not thinking. And sometimes that's just really, really hard. Like sometimes you just can't do that. You need to do something. So to practice, I mean, mindfulness or just being present and aware, like that's literally being in your body rather than in your mind. Because mindfulness is like, people
Honestly,
have such negative,
I think,
connotations with it now. But yeah.
I think just being aware is, even if you can't stop thinking about work, but just because lots of people do it and they don't realize they're doing it. And then if you don't realize you're doing it, you can't do anything about it.
Exactly.
So just taking 5 minutes to be like, how am I feeling? What am I thinking about? Am I thinking about work? I need to do something about that because it has negative things and I'm going to be constipated for the next 3 days if I don't fix that. So just taking 5 minutes to sit down and be aware about what you're going through with your body.
Yep.
There are so many people that just don't do that and they're just unaware of all of these stress factors and all of the things that are going through their mind just because they just go with it.
Absolutely.
So I think writing and like mindfulness, so meditation, but meditation is just sitting down and figuring out what's going on in your body.
Yeah.
Writing is also a really, really good one.
Yeah. And I feel like journaling or writing or whatever you want to call it isn't maybe as scary to start with. Yeah, the other things can feel a bit like daunting. Whereas just writing down your thoughts, I feel like it can just be so therapeutic. And with anything that you do in these things, I would say to kind of maintain a bit of curiosity with it and not be hard on yourself. Because I feel like having a bit of self-compassion while doing all of this, I think makes it easier. So to be like, I'm struggling a lot to not think about these things today. Why is that? Why am I struggling so much? And just kind of take it from that rather than being like, I can't stop thinking about it. No, just don't do that to yourself because that's not helping anybody. Then the sixth tip we have, and we've only got 2 more to go. So the sixth one is to dedicate tech-free times or zones at home to be fully engaged with family and friends. Which again is just like a really obvious one, but it's just like if you're going to watch a film with your friend, don't be on your phone, you know, make a point of leaving the phone outside of the room so that you can actually enjoy what you're doing with this person.
I think a good one for that is done mostly in families, maybe less so these days, but just, you know, not using your phone at the table while you're having a meal. I think having a meal and not watching TV or checking your phone or something, it's such a great time to have a conversation with your loved ones. And I'm a big sucker for watching an episode of something while I'm eating because it's just so much, it's what your body's like, oh, I'm so tired, let's just watch a film while we have dinner. But when I manage to not do that and sit down with my partner at the dinner table, it's just so much better for your brain.
So much better. And I feel like for me, that's something that's really ingrained. The not being on your phone, the not watching something like you say is a lot harder because even sometimes as a family growing up, we would sometimes watch something, but it wasn't the common thing. The common thing was you talk with your family while you're eating. And it's something that's really ingrained. Like I actually like, when I see someone on their phone while they're eating, like at the dinner table with me, I find it really rude and I have to be like, okay, no, wait, like that's a you thing. But that's something that definitely because of my upbringing, it's, while you're eating, it's so good anyway to just concentrate on eating rather than watching something or whatever, like to just be aware of what's happening in your body. It sounds silly, but it's crazy the amount of people that I've talked to that suffered with indigestion, and just by doing that, by just eating and doing nothing else, not even like talking with someone else because they may be eating on a lunch break by themselves or something, but just eating, makes a huge difference because you're kind of just focusing on that. So you chew better, you know, you eat slower because you're not like stressed about something else. So just eating away like really quickly. But And the last one, which I think everyone's going to like, is to take full vacation breaks. Prepare in advance. If you prepare in advance to reduce any work-related worries while you've got your time off, if you need that, that's something I definitely do. Is I like to make sure that everything is in order before I go so that I can fully disconnect. Because if I weren't to do that, then I'd be thinking, oh, and then, you know, did this get done and that, whatever. So take full breaks where you actually completely, don't think about work, don't engage in work. Do that however you can. So, here, just to finish off, we've got 2 listener dilemmas, which are quite long. So I want to leave enough time for them. But just to wrap up, kind of everything we've been talking about today. Some benefits of disconnecting from work mode are reduced stress, which leads to less burnout, improved sleep, stronger relationships, better mental health, and enhanced creativity and productivity. So like we said about work-life balance, in the work-life balance episode, it's actually better for your company as well, not just you. It's better for your boss as well. And yeah, we kind of already said this, but have self-compassion through it, because learning to switch off, Saoirse is innately good at it, but it is a skill and it does require intentional practice. So yeah, it's something you've got to learn to do. You can't expect to be a pro at it in day one that you try and do it. So if you can't switch off day one, don't be like, I'm just gonna always suffer from, no, like it's just, it does take practice and it's okay. Yeah. So yeah, just practice makes perfect.
And give me a call if you need any tips.
Exactly. So yes, we've got 2 listener dilemmas. Like I said, they're quite long. So first one is, I had this sudden realization that my behavior as a workaholic is much deeper than just being a hard worker. I cannot stop working 50 plus hours a week. I feel like I have no control over it, and realizing that has been kind of scary. I have to log my hours and consistently undermine the time I actually spend working. For example, I will log 8 hours a day, but in reality have been working 11. I cannot stop thinking about work even when off the clock. It has gotten to the point of doing work on the weekends, and I know it is bad, but I don't know why my brain makes me feel so bad if I don't work. To really drive the point home, it has gotten to the point where I am being told by others to stop working, and I feel like I am watching myself through a window when I argue back. I don't want to work like this. I have so many hobbies I want to pursue badly, but I currently feel like I'm not in the driver's seat of my life anymore. I'm tired of going against myself and my loved ones. I feel awful because I see how much they worry. I don't even know how to approach bringing it up to my doctor or therapist, because I feel like the response would be something along the lines of, hard work is good. How have you guys started your journey to recovering? Any tips? I feel really lonely and stupid for being addicted to working, but I can no longer deny it. So this is someone who can't switch off, but they are a step further.
I think there's so much of that person's problem. You can see it in one sentence of that listener's issue, and it's, I'm scared to bring it with my doctors and my therapist because they'll probably say work is good. So that's obviously something that is ingrained in their mind, which wouldn't be the case. No, your doctor probably wouldn't say that. They would probably say you need to, for your own good and for your family's good and for your work's good, your boss's good, your company's good, you need to take time off, you need to switch off because of all the things we said today. I think a lot of that comes from like confidence in the work that you do. Like if you spend 8 hours working and at the end of those 8 hours, you're like, damn, I did a good job, I think you're less likely to feel like you have to continue.
That's a really good point.
So maybe looking for a bit more kind of validation, or you maybe need something a bit more from your manager. Maybe you need clearer goals that are more attainable, or to feel like you've ticked off things that day so that you're confident about then turning off your computer and going have dinner with your family, because you'll feel like you've accomplished what you needed to accomplish. I feel like it sounds like that's the thing.
Yeah. Definitely. And then, like we mentioned in the work-life balance episode, this listener mentions having lots of hobbies that they'd like to pursue. So schedule them in, make an appointment in your calendar for one of these hobbies. Yeah, if it's scheduled in and you've paid for it and you're, arranged to go with people or whatever, then that will kind of force you to go and force you to stop working because you've made other commitments with these hobbies, with friends, family. Make it a point to not cancel these things and see how that goes, maybe. And then the second listener dilemma is someone kind of on the other side of it. So it says, I'm a student studying actuarial science. I had to look it up. Something about numbers. Have you ever heard of it? Actuarial? I'm saying that because it's like, so it's ACTUARIAL. Actuarial. I say something about numbers because I didn't actually write it down. I did look it up, but I think
it's a discipline that uses mathematics and statistics to assess and manage financial risk. I think my cousin does this.
Sounds familiar enough. So anyway, this person is a student studying
actually.
This actuarial. I don't know, maybe I'm not saying it right. Actuarial science. They say, last month, I was lucky to get an internship to work under my professor at her insurance firm. For starters, she's one of the youngest people to complete all the papers to qualify as a fellow actuary, which is a big thing, while she was still studying. And she's never taken a break since then. No doubt, she's amazing at her job. All top management are impressed with her and take her advice very seriously. For more context, she assigns us tasks but is way too busy to check our work, give us feedback, or clear our doubts. She just prefers to use Microsoft Teams to sort it through. She comes into the office at 9 a.m. and stays all the way until 9:30 p.m. She's flexible with me, but she does have high expectations. She has told me that she is open to giving me a full-time job at the firm, but I don't know if I should take it. She sees herself as ambitious and hardworking, but I'm afraid that she might be a hard workaholic. Should I work under her given this information? So I think this is really interesting because it's kind of like dealing with someone who can't turn off rather than you being the one that can't turn off.
Oh, and then being your manager.
Yeah. Well, yeah, in this case, there's another level to it because, yeah, it would be her boss, yeah. I would maybe say if you do have the option to not take the job, maybe not. Just because I don't know how much you'll be able to learn. You're already there as an intern. You can suss out if learning from her just by observing her, because it doesn't sound like she's much of a mentor. Are you going to learn enough from that? Because if she's not checking your work, she's not giving feedback, and she's not clearing your doubts, I don't know. If she's going to be one of those people that's like, oh, well, you can't do it, give it here, I'll just do it. I don't know.
I think maybe a conversation to have would be, I'm interested in this role and this is an industry I'm really interested in, but I just want to clarify what your expectations would be of me.
Because it says maybe she's flexible with me, but she does have high expectations. So I guess clear up what that is.
So, I mean, I guess if she's an organized person, so if she organizes with MS Project, then at least your goals are pretty clear in theory. Maybe take the time to go through or see how that is even during your internship. How realistic are the goals that she sets? And do you have the option to set them together with her? So it's really difficult at the beginning to figure out how long a task will take you. But you learn that more and more. In fact, I think that's one of the things we learn the most in our first years of work is at the beginning we have no idea how long a task will take or how much effort so it's really difficult to estimate. But that's something that you'll definitely learn. So if there's the option of setting those tasks alongside her, and the opportunity is a really good one, I think even obviously she's not the best manager like you mentioned, but I still think you could learn a lot in the workplace and just being in contact with the work that you're given. So yeah, maybe have a conversation on what the expectations are for you, whether it's hitting the milestones that are set. Does she expect you to go above and beyond? What does that mean? And if that's a conversation that you come out of feeling happy, because maybe she's just a workaholic and wants to spend all that time at the office, but doesn't necessarily expect that from you.
Yeah, expect her employees to have the same approach, yeah. I guess it isn't something I'd really thought about when doing the prep, but as we're here, maybe it would be good to just have a moment of kind of how to deal with if you have a family or a friend who can't switch off from work. Let's not take it as far as being workaholics, but just can't turn off, and you're feeling affected by that because you feel like you're not getting good quality time with your partner, your family member, your friend, or whatever.
Or you just see that taking a toll on them.
How to go about that? I think it can be hard. to if they're not at a place to want to be open about it, I guess. Like if they're not, they don't see it as an issue. And I think the only thing I think say...
it's the same as most, it's the same as most, I'm going to say mental health, but doesn't necessarily have to be mental health. But lots of situations in which a loved one, you see that they could be doing better because of something, but they're not ready to admit that. That's a really difficult place to stand. But if you can, maybe just bring it up in conversation. It's never easy, but it can make a big difference.
Yeah.
And then maybe either they haven't realized and they can start to, maybe they'll fight back. That's fine. That's probably expected. But at least they'll know that you've opened up the topic if one day they do want to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think to bring it up in a way that there's not placing blame. This is a way of, I care about you and I've noticed this. And I think also, especially if it's like your partner, you could just say, you know, I feel like our quality time is getting affected by it. And even with a friend, you could say that, like, I feel like I don't see you anymore. Like, it's not, I want to change that because I love you and care about you. And yeah, and see how it goes. Like you say, open conversation. I think it can be just as hard to see somebody else go through it as going through it yourself. But yes, this is psychological detachment. Why it's necessary. aka switching off.
So change your clothes and go for a walk and use your personal... Oh, go and give someone a hug.
Go give someone a hug. And basically, doing the research, I realized that this is something that you need to have doing it well.
Ingrained.
To be able to have good work-life balance. Because like I said, it's going to all come back on itself, I'm sure. Like, keep coming back to all the topics we're talking about and be very interconnected, the same as in season 1. It all came back to good communication all the time, no matter what we talked about. I feel like that's going to keep happening with different things in this one. But yeah, I feel like that if you've managed to get the skill down of being able to have psychological detachment, it's going to make having work-life balance that much easier. So yes, one good thing leads to 1,000 good things, basically, is what I'm saying. And
go and give someone a hug.
Go give someone a hug. And we will see you next week for...
We're going to talk about the Sunday scaries. And if you don't know what that is, then more of a reason to come and
see you next week. Right.